Since the beginning of human existence, we have faced many different viral threats, and some of these were quite deadly. Smallpox, for example, plagued humanity for centuries and was responsible for 300 million deaths in the 20th century alone. But luckily, due to an effective vaccine, smallpox was declared eradicated in 1980, with the last naturally occurring case recorded in 1977. Alongside smallpox, we faced other viral killers like HIV, with nearly 43 million lives lost since its discovery in the 1980s. But again, treatments and preventative measures have reduced these numbers. Now, as lethal as some of these viruses are, and even with all the attention the most recent infamous respiratory virus has received, that being COVID-19, there is still one virus that always seems to come back and remind us who is boss, or remind us who is the king of the respiratory viruses, and that is influenza. The flu has been a recurrent guest on the viral stage for centuries, contributing not only to pandemics like the one in 1918 that contributed to an estimated 50 million deaths worldwide, but also causing annual epidemics that leaves millions suffering in bed every year. So why is this virus so relentless? What makes the influenza virus capable of mutating and changing so quickly? Well, in today's video, we're going to answer these questions and discuss why this virus is considered by many to be the king of the respiratory viruses, plus discuss how it spreads, what it does to your body once inside, and even talk about effective treatment and preventative strategies. It's going to be a feverish one, so let's do this. The influenza virus is one of many respiratory viruses, and the influenza virus contains RNA, meaning its genetic material is made of ribonucleic acid. This virus is notorious for its ability to mutate rapidly, which is why new flu strains emerge each season, and I'll explain how that occurs in just a second. But influenza viruses are classified into four main types: A, B, C, and D. Influenza C infections typically cause mild illness and are not thought to cause human epidemics. Influenza D viruses primarily affect animals and are not known to infect people. However, influenza A and B cause seasonal epidemics of disease in humans, most commonly referred to as flu season, which takes place from October to March in the northern hemisphere, but April to September in the southern hemisphere. But typically, influenza A is the most serious, as this is the only influenza type known to cause global influenza pandemics, which occurs when a new influenza A virus emerges that has the ability to spread more efficiently among humans, which again, we'll cover when we discuss why this virus can mutate or change so rapidly. So how does the influenza virus spread and infect humans? Well, typically the virus is spread when you inhale respiratory droplets that are generously donated from an infected person. And respiratory droplets are just tiny particles that can be expelled from the body when someone talks, coughs, or sneezes. And if these respiratory droplets are brought into the respiratory passageways and contact the mucous membranes that you can see here of that recipient, that person can now become infected. Spread can also occur if a person touches a surface contaminated with respiratory secretions that contain the virus, and then that person touches their eyes, nose, or mouth. But the key to the virus's ability to infect other cells lies in its surface spike proteins. Influenza A viruses are divided into subtypes based on two surface spike proteins: hemagglutinin, abbreviated with an H, and neuraminidase, abbreviated with an N. There are 18 different H subtypes, H1 through H18, and 11 different N subtypes, N1 through N11. So you could get multiple different combinations or subtypes here. And maybe you've heard of certain subtypes or strains of flu, such as H3N2 or H1N1, which H1N1 is also known as swine flu. But as the virus enters your nose or mouth, it targets the epithelial cells lining the respiratory tracts. The neuraminidase actually degrades the protective mucus layer, allowing the virus to gain better access to these epithelial cells. And using its surface spike protein hemagglutinin, the virus binds to the receptors on these epithelial cells, kind of like a key that fits into a lock. And this causes the virus to be brought into the cell in a vesicle made from the cell's own membrane. And so this process is often referred to as endocytosis. But once inside this now infected cell, the virus eventually uncoat and release its RNA, which will then be replicated within the host cell's nucleus. The virus also hijacks and uses other cellular machinery outside the nucleus to make other viral components, such as more spike proteins, that hemagglutinin neuraminidase we just talked about. And once all the new viral components are synthesized, the new influenza viruses are assembled and bud off from the host cell membrane. But something that is important to understand is that during the budding process, the new viruses become attached to or stuck to the host cell membrane. And if it remained attached, the new viruses could not be released to go infect other cells. But this is where neuraminidase comes in, because one of the main functions of neuraminidase is to cleave or break this connection from the host cell membrane. And this final step allows potentially thousands of new viruses to leave and infect other cells. But keep this function of neuraminidase in mind when we talk about treatment options for the flu. But let's get into how and why the influenza virus can mutate or change so quickly. But with all this talk about the flu virus, and with flu season upon us, supporting your immune health is more important than ever. And so this would be a great time to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, AG1. AG1 is a daily foundational nutrition supplement backed by research studies and is packed with vitamins, minerals, probiotics, superfoods, and adaptogens, all designed to support whole body health. I drink AG1 as part of my morning ritual, and it's an all-in-one solution. So instead of juggling multiple supplements, I just take one scoop, mix it with water, shake it up, and I'm good to go. AG1 supports immune health with key ingredients like vitamin C and zinc. Plus it also includes ingredients such as prebiotics, probiotics, and digestive enzymes to help promote gut health. And in a recent research study, AG1 doubled the levels of healthy gut bacteria. These healthy bacteria help break down food, alleviate bloating, promote digestive regularity, and having a healthy gut microbiome can also help bolster the immune system. So it's definitely nice to see that AG1 is constantly putting their formula to the test to ensure continuous improvements. So if you're interested, go to drinkag1.com/humananatomy to get a free bottle of vitamin D3, K2, plus 5 extra travel packets of AG1 with your first purchase. That info will also be in the description below. One of the key challenges in controlling the influenza virus is its ability to change over time through what's known as antigenic drift and antigenic shift. Now you've probably heard of an antigen before, but if you aren't clear on what an antigen is a substance that induces an immune response. These antigens are typically found on the surface of bacteria and viruses. Hemagglutinin and neuraminidase, these surface proteins on the influenza virus, are examples of antigens that our immune system is going to respond to. But how does this relate to antigenic drift and antigenic shift? Antigenic drift refers to a small, gradual set of changes in the influenza viruses, hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. These minor mutations accumulate over time. Remember, one infected cell can lead to thousands of new viruses. And as the copying and replicating of the new viral RNA occurs, through thousands and thousands of replications, you can get subtle mistakes or changes in the genome of the virus. And again, over time, this can lead to small changes in the structure of hemagglutinin and neuraminidase, leading to new viral strains that may partially evade the immune system of someone that may had immunity to a previous strain. And this is one of the reasons why the flu vaccine needs to be updated annually to match new circulating strains. And I know vaccines have been a hot topic over the past few years, and so